This conference will now be recorded.
You ready?
Good evening, the time being 4:45 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting of April 20th, 2023 to order. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first up is the minutes of 4/6.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes of Thursday, April 6th as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
I have a suggestion on page 3.
Okay,
Just above Selectmen's reports, other about the gravestones.
are we on the same April 6th?
Oh, no, I'm on March 30th.
Okay,
Well, I'll be ready for those.
All I have is April 6th.
It's on the tab, your tab.
Okay. I'm good, thank you.
good. All right. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as written?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No, we're good. Okay. We still have a couple of minutes. Before the standard power of America comes. Any selectmen have something real quick to go over under their reports?
Yeah, just that. Still have no word from Titus.
I think he's got a wedding he's attending soon or fairly quickly, according to Facebook. Victoria's getting married. Here, and then there's one abroad. Catherine's getting married in England.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah. I don't know when it is, though. I just saw it on Facebook recently. All right, thanks, Joe. Anybody else? We'll got 10 minutes.
I'll if you don't
Okay,
mind. So,
go ahead.
it was something I was going to bring up in my selectmen's report. Just a question. Over the years, in terms of our town seal, I've wondered if we would ever consider shifting it from the arch, which is not in Tilton, to a landmark such as Town Hall, our bridge, et cetera, in Tilton. Just it's I've thought about it a few times, and just something because technically and I'm well aware of what the arch is and the history of the arch, but I was just wondering if we would, just start to chew on, would there be a landmark in town that might be more appropriate for the town seal instead of a landmark that's in another municipality and another county?
That was brought up before years ago,
Yeah, just a thought.
and there was such a negative hue and cry.
So-
It didn't last long. And I I'm, as you,
Yeah.
it's even in another county. Forget about another town, another county.
Yeah, yeah.
But there is an incredible hue and cry.
Tilton Arch. It is the Tilton Arch. That's the name of it.
But it's,
So people associate it with
Yeah,
Tilton.
exactly,
Because
exactly.
I've
Yeah,
said
yeah,
the
yeah.
same thing.
I always thought that when I moved here, but I can't even, it hasn't been brought up in the 15 years I've been here, so I just can't even imagine what people would think out there, but I mean, we could always bring it up.
Well, someone said it suggested Timetable Mabel because it says Tilton on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you could get a nice view of the islands behind it, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, oh, that would be nice.
Yeah. I mean, as all of you know, we've just got some wonderful, whether it's this building, I mean, and there are some older renderings of this building that are beautiful. It's,
I know I didn't mention it again.
yeah. So what, whether it was the bridge, I hadn't even thought of Timetable Mabel, but just, I figured you'd bring it up for us to chew
Yeah,
on.
I have heard a couple other people say it over the years, why don't we have something in Northfield that's symbol, but
Sounds like
Might
we're
be
open
enough.
for discussion
Yeah,
anyway.
so there we go.
All right,
That'll be a summer discussion for us
Okay.
as we go.
sounds good. Okay, it looks like our 5 o'clock is here. John,
I'm Ryan.
oh, okay, so so we still have a couple minutes. All right, anything else, Scott?
No, that was all I had for this evening. Figured
Okay.
I'd just throw controversy in, so.
It wasn't though, see?
No, yeah, no, that's good. But as Catherine acknowledged,
Yep.
we know tradition.
Joe, you have anything more?
Me?
Anything
Just
more?
wanted to ask about when the flower boxes were going on the rails.
Your microphone's not on, just to let you know.
So I'm going to be talking to Kevin about that tomorrow. Usually, they tell you not to put out flowers till after Memorial Day, the frost. And last year, what we did was we planted them all up before then so they could start growing, and they were at the DPW. And then when frost had passed, they got installed. So it's on the radar screen.
Okay. How about those lanterns? Are they any news on when they're going in?
The lampposts?
Lampposts, yeah.
According to Josh, they should be completely installed by mid-May.
Hmm.
So,
it looks so nice.
Hmm.
Big difference down there.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be fantastic.
and the other, since you're on that topic, the other thing we're looking at is where the trees were removed. We were going to put flower boxes. And I'm working on a grant right now there are 16 empty spaces on the south side sidewalk. I don't think it's a good idea to put anything on the north. No, I'm sorry, on the north side, there's 16 spaces. On the south side, to not put anything there right now because Kevin's going to be redoing the sidewalks this summer. So I'm currently waiting on a quote for flower boxes. Or planters, I should say, substantial planters.
Deb Shepherd has some really nice, authentic wheelbarrow at the.
Well,
Prison.
these are commercial grade that what you can do is the wall is hollow and you fill the planter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then at the bottom, there's like a hole or a channel, if you will, and it's lined with carpet
Mm-hmm.
so that when you water it, it wicks up and
Wicks it up. Yeah.
and it's supposed to be good for 2 weeks at a time, so that we won't have the DPW guys have to be out there, once a week or every other day.
And hopefully people won't come out and water them thinking that nobody's been out there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it won't make any difference.
Yeah, well, they'll overwater them.
Yeah,
Why, they only suck up so much from the bottom. They
Right,
can't
but-
suck it up any faster.
Yeah, but to Pat's point, if they're pouring it directly on,
Yeah,
because it's coming through the walls.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
wasn't suggesting they pour it directly on, but
just have to educate them, yeah,
Yeah.
that's all. Yeah. Which would be interesting. Right. Okay. Um, Jeannie, you don't have a report, but is there anything more on the parking?
I do, I actually have a verbal since I was out last week. I do have a verbal to go over some things with you. One of the, Kevin, at your next meeting will be bringing forward a proposal for the parking lot that he recommended.
Excellent.
I was thinking of more of Sarno.
Sarno, I actually have a meeting with them tomorrow.
Okay, that's what
So
I
I've
meant.
been working between them and the fire chief. Been in regular communication. They want to come in tomorrow and talk. So I have a meeting with them at 1:30.
Okay.
Hopefully that will have some good news for us. You all got the documents on the engineering firms for Caleb Hill Road.
Mhm.
Yes.
The staff who met with the three all agreed on McFarland Johnson as the choice for giving the engineering services to. That was based on interviewing the three companies that they had the most experience with road construction or reconstruction. They were very thorough in their presentation, had actually gone to the site, taken pictures, done site inspections as compared to the other two, and they've done work in the area. So that was our recommendation to the board. I know you all wanted to look at the bids, and as soon as we can get approval from the board, then we can start moving forward. So,
Okay, I see it.
if,
That okay to get them, you need an answer tonight or in 2 weeks?
well, I was hoping that I
We
could
would talk
have an
about it
answer
tonight. Okay,
But if you can't, well, it just delays it,
okay.
so.
Then we'll delay that for a little bit later.
Okay.
Okay.
new business.
Yep.
I have some other things if you want me to.
Mhm.
So, do want to have a discussion with the board about the performance review system. We put something in place last year that didn't seem to work very well. So I really want to get started on the reviews in May so that we can have everything to the board in June for you to look at the recommendations so that when we hit the July deadline, everything is done. Every year we've been just a little bit behind. But having said that, the review system we put in place last year, Tim and I had worked on, we put that forward to the board. That didn't really seem to work. So I guess I just want feedback from the board how to move forward on reviews this year.
Trying to remember what didn't work.
Well, it was based on numbers. So if you remember, they did their self-evaluation,
Right.
and then we, whoever the department head was, they went through and did their evaluation, and then they came up with numbers. And whatever the numbers were, there was a spread. So if it was, I'm just making up numbers, if it's from 0 to 5, they would get a 1% increase. If it was a 5 to 10, they would get the top
Oh,
increase.
yeah.
And it didn't really go that way.
No, it didn't. Well,
So,
one of the reasons was it was unique because we had put a lot of that on hold the year before too. We had put a lot of the raises and things. There was somewhat of a, was it last year? I think it was that we had, the year before, we had held some, didn't we?
don't believe so. Um,
We had held back on some of, uh, giving some
I don't recall
to the,
that, but what I can do is send you the form again so you can look at it so that at the next meeting it can tell me, how to move forward.
I
I
never
think
liked
I
the
think,
number system,
yeah.
never have.
I think the board last year also said that they wanted a dollar amount rather than a percentage.
Yeah, some board members did ask for a dollar
So
amount versus a percentage.
we should probably decide that
I would like both,
sooner.
because we have a budget that is a percentage. And to casually give out
Mm,
dollar amounts doesn't necessarily let us know where we fit in the percentage.
mhm.
So both is fine.
Well, why don't I send you, just as a refresher, what we did last year? And you can look at that.
So we can all think about it. And
Yeah.
any opinions? Anybody else want to say anything?
Review it and then
Have it ready for
It's got to be a better way, I think,
next
than what
meeting.
we do.
I have
Go ahead.
a suggestion. So the sewer commissioners have come up with a very streamlined. We only have one employee. Well, we have two actually, a part-timer and a full-timer, but we have a very streamlined form that we use. Pretty simple, pretty basic, not fancy, to the point.
I would love to have that information when we actually get to the review.
I'll ask Johanna to send it out.
Okay,
Nice.
that's good. All right.
You know when he's coming? You were on at 5 o'clock, and they've got a non-public at 5:45 scheduled.
We can start whenever you like.
Awesome.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's do it. So this is Ryan Polson, okay, from Standard Power of America to talk to the board about the community power that we had asked them.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
And would you be so kind as to stand at the podium
Yeah,
so that we can capture the audio?
That turn, and just check to make sure that's turned on. This little button.
Hey,
Bingo. Great.
well, thank you again for having us. My teammate John, who might show up, I'm not sure. I thought he was, but he's been talking to the town the last couple weeks, I think, about community power and how it could benefit the town. And I'm here to kind of give you a brief overview of everything and see if that is something of interest to you. So a little bit about Standard Power. We're an energy consultant. We're down in Nashua. We've been around since 2010. We work with about 70 schools and towns across the state. Tilton happens to not be one of those towns. Maybe one day. A lot of our work has been through electric and gas contracts, net metering. We administer the largest group net metering program in New Hampshire, working with 30 hydro facilities across the state, including two just over in Franklin. I don't know if you guys know Alan Larder. He's a resident over in Franklin. He owns those two units. So we've worked with him for a while, and we've been able to provide additional benefits to our customers, predominantly schools and towns, from that hydro program. So we've been working with schools and towns for a while, and this program, Community Power, came about back in 2019. Um, and its core goal is to provide multiple options, including lowest rate and more green electric rates. And we thought this was another program that we could look into to help our town customers. So 2019, it was signed into law by the governor, and we wanted to do an initial alpha test with a community. And the Public Utilities Commission told us, no, we're not ready. This program's not ready. We went to the electric suppliers who would be participating in the bid process. So, same thing. This isn't ready. So we were slowed in that process, and then Eversource introduced a kill bill to kill community power, and back into the legislature we went, and then it was again signed into law by the governor in August of 2021. The Public Utilities Commission has 60 days to approve bills that are signed by the governor. And fast forward from August 21 to October 2022, and the rules were finally finalized by the Public Utilities Commission. So it's been a long, drawn out process. We've been working right along since 2019, and have been working with multiple communities since 2020. This spring, this past month, we launched the first four programs, towns signed contracts, and their program will launch in June. But we'll get to that. So on the second page, we have a line graph of historically Standard Power has grouped schools and towns together to create buying groups for electricity. And as you can see, the blue line there, the top line is the Eversource default rate, and the orange line is the group rate that our towns have had the pleasure of having over the same timeline. And we've been pretty consistent in saving our customers money, and we believe that this will carry over to community power. So what exactly is community power? It's essentially, as I mentioned, a law that allows a town or city to develop a program and have it approved at its town meeting, essentially, allowing the residents options in their electrical choice for their electric bill. So why is this important? Eversource, and I think Tilton is predominantly Eversource for the utility. So predominantly, Eversource buys 2 times a year. They buy their power 2 times a year, at the end of December and at the end of June, which happen to be historically the 2 worst times of the year to buy power. And whatever the cost is, that the day they buy, that is the rate that the residents and ratepayers endure for 6-month chunks. So this past year, I'm sure you're no stranger to seeing the dramatic increase in electric rates to 22.5 cents and currently 20 cents for Eversource. Community power, the rules don't apply in the same way. So when we go out to bid, and like we had just done for our first group of towns, we dictate when we buy. We time the market to make sure that we're buying at the right time, the opportune time. And in addition, you roll buying power in. So any individual resident right now can go out to a third-party supplier or a residential supplier, and I'm sure you get those things in the mail saying, hey, here's a great rate, sign up at this great rate for 5 months, and then people do it, and then they may forget, and then the rate goes up. So any individual resident can do that right now. Why community power benefits the residents is you're taking not just one resident, but an entire community of residents together, and you take that buying power, and it greatly improves your ability to price the group or the town. And to that extent, having the town develop a program, the residents know this is a town developed program. This isn't a random company that I'm getting pieces of mail from. The town develops the program, and we'll get into who actually develops it. But the town develops it. It gives the residents choice, more choice than they may have already, because likely they're not shopping multiple suppliers at once, whereas through community power, we're vetting and having multiple suppliers price and bid for the program. So, and consumer, an additional benefit also relative is consumer protection. So, as I mentioned, people get those postcards or mailers, sign up at this great rate, and it's kind of predatory, and people get burned all the time. We're no stranger to those stories. So part of the benefit of this program is to prevent those predatory companies from coming in and getting residents to sign up and then increasing the rates on them mid contract or what have you. So additionally, I don't know if the town has a renewable goal. Some of the communities that we have worked with have renewability goals by 2030, like the city of Keene. And some communities don't have those goals. And community power would be a great way for a town to develop some of those goals that they may not already have. So and that can come in the form of a variety of different things, from building local projects like solar projects. I don't know if the town has considered that in the past, but there's a lot of things that you can do over the course of the contract and over the course of the next couple of years should you develop a program. On page 5, so what we kind of like to do when we first start working with a community is we want to survey the community. So we put out a survey to every town that we've worked with so far, because we want their voices heard. We want to know what the community members are interested in. And I would say the pie chart and the results have all come back pretty much the same. You'll have that chunk of people who just want the cheapest rate possible, and that's okay. We understand that is not gonna not go away for a long time. So we'll have that as an option. But predominantly, the largest piece of the pie chart has been people want various amounts of added renewable energy to their price. Most of the towns that we have worked with so far have had four rate options. The cheapest rate possible, I want to pay about the same as I pay now, but I want more green, and that is usually the largest number of votes in the survey, and then 50% or 100% green as options. And there will be people that say, I don't care what it costs. I want to be 100% green. I care, and that sounds great to me. And great, we love renewable energy. We're a renewable energy company, but we don't want to force that on those who may not care or may not want that. So having the options to choose as an individual on an individual basis is key. So on page 6, we've listed out at the bottom the first 4 programs that we had launched. Keene, Swansea, Wilton, and Marlborough. They signed their contracts in the early part of March, and their programs will start in June. As you can see, the default rate of their program is 11.47 cents, and the cheapest rate option is 11.1. And you can see the added 50% and 100% green. Just below that in orange, one of our competitors who were battling against, they also released and launched their first set of communities about a week after we did. And their cheapest rate possible is 15.8 to our 11.1. So we've been pretty confident right along that we would have better pricing than they would, and that is shown so far. So during this process, when we first started looking at it, we were really into the idea of the program, but it had never been done in New Hampshire, and we of course have never worked on this before. So we thought it would be good to find a partner who has experience with developing these programs. So we've partnered with a company called Good Energy. They're nationwide, but they've got a dedicated New England team. They have over 40 programs that are launched in Massachusetts and 8 programs in Rhode Island, I believe. Rhode Island was on the same timeline as New Hampshire. New Hampshire obviously was slow, and Rhode Island pushed past, and they had their programs launch already. But Good Energy has been a great partner, and on page 7 you can see one of their programs in Massachusetts, Somerville. And similar, the top blue line is the utility, also Eversource in Massachusetts. You can see the dotted green line as Somerville's default rate of their program, and the orange line as the cheapest rate possible in their program. And except for the COVID blip, they've been pretty successful. And again, we believe that we'll have similar results to the results they've had in Massachusetts. So kind of a wrap up, I guess probably the most important thing is there is no cost to the town budget to develop and launch a program. The program is an opt-out program. So this is where you'll have the most potential negative feedback. So the community power existed in New Hampshire prior to 2019, but it was an opt-in program. So you had to get so many people to decide to do this. So it didn't really work. So the law changed to opt out. So any customer in a community who is not currently in a third-party supply contract for electricity will be automatically enrolled in the program unless they actively decide to opt out of the program. That said, you can opt out at any time. You can change from one rate option to a different rate option at any time, and there are no penalties or fees for coming or going from the program. So while an opt-in program rarely, it never worked, an opt-out program, you're likely going to shift the percentage of participation from probably 15 to 20% to 80 to 90% participation in a community. And you'll have people that won't pay attention and don't care, and they'll be enrolled and our job, Standard Power's job, is to educate the community as best we can so that people know this is what is happening. This is the program the town has helped develop. And we want to encourage as many people to participate and understand what is going on with the program. So we get that question a lot at some of the public sessions that we have for towns, is the opt-in versus opt-out. But I think at the end of the day, it won't be as big of a deal to the program. So I guess on the final page is, what are the next steps? So if this is something the town is interested in, the select board would need to appoint a committee to be developed, and the committee, we would hope to work with the committee. If the town selects to work with Standard Power, we would work with the committee to develop the program, to meet all the checkpoints and milestones that by law each community needs to make in preparation for town meeting 2024. We operate under a 2-page MOU, which is essentially just a handshake. We would love to just not have any documents and just have a handshake agreement, but our competition has a 58-page agreement to work with them, and ours is 2. So we want to make it as simple and easy as we can. And so far we've had what I think is great success. Like I said, we had our first 4 programs in March sign their contracts, and we had our next 7 towns all approve their programs at town meeting. So they will likely launch later this summer. And we're working on the push for the communities going for 2024 now. So please, any questions, let me know. Happy to go over it.
Let's go back to page, 3. It says, municipality purchases electricity supply for residents and small businesses. If the town is purchasing electricity, we have to raise money in order to purchase.
It's a good question. So we will be the ones, Standard Power and Good Energy will be the ones that purchase the contract on behalf of the town.
So what you're saying is that we're giving you an exclusive right to deliver, unless they opt out. You get the opportunity to deliver power to every place in the town of Tilton. Is that correct?
The third-party supplier would be the one who delivers the power, or the one who provides the power. Eversource still delivers the power. So I'll take a step back. Should the town decide to work with Standard Power, we work with the committee and the town to develop the program. The program gets approved at town meeting. We then would request data from Eversource or all the utilities that make up Tilton. We would get all of the eligible electric meter data from the utilities. We would then go out to price those meters, those accounts. So I don't know off the top of my head how many individual households there are in town, but let's say it's 3,000. And let's say all 3,000 were eligible. So we're taking data for 3,000 electric accounts, going out to a variety of third-party suppliers. They provide us with prices. We then decide with the committee in the town which rates look best or are best. And then the town contracts with that supplier. So there's no There's no money that is being put towards this. Our fee,
And why does it say that we purchase power for residents and small businesses? should
it
probably
should
be a
be
different word.
the program itself. So us on behalf of the town is going out to bid for an electric contract for all of the eligible customers. I don't know if the town is in a third party supply contract for the town buildings. I suspect that you might be,
Yeah, we
but
are.
it's the same process, just on a grander scale. So the town collects all of their town account information. If we were working with the town, we would collect all of their electric bills. We would go out to all the suppliers, say, hey, we would like to price this customer with you. They send us the pricing back. We decide what we think is the best rate. The town agrees, and then the town signs a contract with that the winning supplier. So it works the same way, just on a bigger scale.
Have you spoken with Tim Pearson?
No, Tim's our finance director and
Yeah.
he's looked at it, but he hasn't commented on it yet.
Well, he's the one that's been negotiating our electric contracts now for years.
Yeah, we do have a
years.
third party.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we do.
And it's not Eversource.
No.
No.
I got nothing bad about Eversource, but we kind of want to save as much money as we can.
Right. So yeah. So the utility still delivers the power. If the power goes out, they are still required by law to fix the poles and the lines. The only thing that changes on the residents or the customer's bill is where it says supply. So instead of it saying Eversource for supply, it'll say whichever supplier is the one who wins the bid. And then your rate will be whichever rate you elect to sign up at. So the customers of that first group have those four options to choose from. In the plan, they can also choose to not participate and remain on the default service of Eversource or whichever utility they're in. Those who are in a contract already are not eligible right away, but as soon as their existing contract ends, they have the ability to opt into the program if the program is already launched. So I understand that sentence and the confusion, and I'll make note of that to make that a little not as confusing, because I agree that the municipality is not physically buying power.
Here's the confusion. It says we are, but we're not. So there's the confusion right
Correct.
there.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Ryan?
Briefly describe one of the other communities' programs.
Yeah. So we'll start. Keene was the first to run an RFP. They were the only one of the communities that we are working with that ran an RFP, but they're a city, so they may have different requirements. They ran that back in 2020. We were selected by the city. They have lofty goals of being 100% renewable by 2030. They have a lot of goals of building local projects in town. We've already been having conversations about different areas for solar projects. Some kind of the unique or something, I guess I think it's cool, but any project that you build in town, you could incorporate or roll the power produced by that project and what's called a REC, a renewable energy credit. It's a separate commodity that's created by renewable energy projects. But you have the ability to incorporate both those items into the overall program and the pricing that you get. So if people care about having more local produced power or more local greenness, and when I say greenness, to be 100% or 50% green, you have to purchase a certain amount of renewable energy credits. That is, they broke apart the actual supply, the actual electricity and the actual greenness 20 years ago. So the commodity of RECs is part of this process for those who want to be more green. Suppliers can buy RECs from Texas wind, and if people don't care where that greenness comes from, great. But people do care where their power comes from, and if they can point to a project in town and say, "Hey, that is directly contributing to our program," we want to at least explore that opportunity. So Keene's got a lot of initiatives, a lot of fast moving initiatives, and not every town is like that. When we started working with Keene, they had a robust group of people who wanted to be on the committee to develop the program. When we first started working with Marlborough, a small town just outside of Keene, they were very interested in wanting to do the program, but they said, "Oh, we don't want to do that much," which is fine. We are happy to work as much or as little with the town and the committee as instructed to. And over the course of developing their program, they were very involved, and all the towns have been very involved in the process. But it takes 8 or so meetings, I think now. We've gotten it down to 8 meetings to fully or almost fully develop a program. So we can move relatively quickly. Town of Wilton approached us in December of 21. We started working with them in January and got their plan approved at that March town meeting. So I wouldn't recommend doing it that fast, but we met with them every week, and we got it done. But just from a logistical point of view, it's a little easier to spread it out a little more than that. So we're town of Deerfield. They're one of our first towns for 2024 that we're working on, and they're doing 2 meetings a month for 4 months. And our goal is to have most of their program and plan developed by the end of or beginning of August. There are certain things you have to do, but having approval at the Public Utilities Commission is one of those major milestones. Public Utilities Commission approval of the plan and then town meeting are kind of the two big checkpoints. So we're trying to get plans approved by the Public Utilities Commission before town meeting, so that once town meeting comes and goes and the program is approved, then we can immediately get data and start looking at pricing, instead of having to wait for the public utilities approval, because that's a 60-day wait time, and they wait 60 days until they approve things. So hopefully I answered it a little bit. I apologize if I didn't answer it fully, but each town's a little different. The core of the document, the physical plan, is roughly the same for 70% of it, because it's a lot of legalese, but each town is able to have their own individual decisions and each individual parts of the program that they may want. And we buy at the same time. So we take a bunch of communities and go out to buy at the same time, but they all have their individual plans.
Do these renewable programs have to be municipally owned, Or can they be a combination of private and municipally owned?
So if it's a private owned project and the owner wants to be involved and the town wants to figure out a deal to incorporate that power, that's totally doable. It comes down to if whoever the owner is wants to have that project utilized in that way. Um, so and we would help negotiate or work on those kinds of things should it arise.
John, you had Joe, I'm sorry, you had a question.
Is community power 501c3?
Nonprofit.
So
Apparently not. That's a yes or no question.
no, because it's just a program offered by the town.
So you're not incorporated on any level.
Standard Power is we're our own company.
Okay, you're a company. It's not a not-for-profit company. How do you make money?
So we don't get paid until a program actually launches. So we could help you develop this program, get the town meeting, and it fails. And we take on all that risk. We understand that there's that chance that it might not pass. We get paid only when the program launches, and our rate is 1/10 of a cent. So if the contract rate is 15 cents, let's say, our 1/10 of a cent is included in that 15-cent rate. So 14.9 would be the rate before our fee. And we've been transparent about that since we first started working on community power. So that's how we get paid, and you don't pay us, or it is all billed through, people pay their electric bill, and that's all they do. There's no intricate payment methods to it. It's just everyone pays their own bill.
Anyone else have any questions for Ryan? All set? Good. All right. Thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the time.
Definitely think it over. We have your contact and everything, right? You do, right?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are people on the meet allowed to ask questions?
Someone online.
Yeah.
Looked
Oh,
online,
somebody's
I didn't
asking-
see anybody. I'm sorry, is there somebody online?
Hi, yes, it's Nathan Langione.
Oh, hi, Nate.
I was just wondering if this was only a selectmen committee question session, or if townspeople could ask questions as well.
If you have a quick question, we'll allow you to ask the question. Nate, go ahead.
Yeah. So, are you guys essentially, a middleman working on commission? If I like French art, and I am not, in the town where the French art auction is, I could, have you guys go and, bid, under a certain price range, or, certain styles or whatever. And, you just essentially get a commission fee. You're just helping the town develop this program, and then purchase, making the deals to purchase power, hopefully and typically coming in under the rate that Eversource, the current provider, provides. And you really only make money if you get people in to have you purchase for them.
So if you want to consider us a middleman, that's fine. I would say that any town can do this on their own if they want to. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of research to do it. We have done it. We know how to do it. And we want to make it as easy as possible for any town that is interested. So I would say that's our pitch for that. But it is something any town can do if on their own if they want to, but it is a big undertaking. And we've put in a lot of hours to develop this here in New Hampshire. So yeah, and again, yeah, we don't, if when we go out to price and the market is bad and the rates are way too high, we won't launch. And we'll wait until the market's more favorable for the community. So just because the town approves it doesn't mean you have to immediately launch the program. It'll come down to what makes most sense and what is best financially for the town and all the residents. So
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Nate, we're gonna have to close you off for a minute because we have to close this session with Ryan. Thank you for stepping in, and we didn't see you up there. I think our guard for our internet here is off guard because it says one raised hand up there. You see that?
Yeah.
I think
Way
he's
up there.
asleep. His allergies are getting to him. Nate, thank you. We're going to go into a non-public right now. Appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
What? Okay. Thank you, John. The time being 5:43. I make a motion to enter into non-public per RSA 91A:3, 2B, the hiring of any person as a public employee, and 91A:3, 2C, matters which discussed in public would likely adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of this board unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or any or other levy if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. In RSA 91A:3, 2D, consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property which, if discussed in public, would likely benefit a party or parties whose interests are adverse to those of the general community. Do I hear a second? Second by Catherine Dawson. Roll call vote.
Jessamine, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Dawson, yes.
Constantino, yes.
This conference will now be recorded.
Make a motion to seal the minutes of the April 20th, 2023 non-public because disclosure would adversely affect the reputation of a person other than a member of the board.
Second, Jessamine.
Are you permanently?
Permanently, I'm sorry, thank you. Permanently sealing them, thank you.
I actually, the language you got is the new language recommended by NHMA.
I just want to know because it just means they're never going to come up again.
This is,
Well, we have to go over them to approve them, so they'll come up at least once.
No, I mean to release. They won't come up again to release the minutes. Don't you review
I can't
non-public
recall.
minutes to release them?
I can't recall the
We did a
last
couple-
ones we released.
We haven't for a few months.
Seconded that to come out of non-public.
Jessamine.
So we have a motion.
to come out of non-public was Catherine.
I came out. He seconded the motion.
He seconded the motion, yeah, to seal the minutes.
I came out.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
But they back up.
So I have a question. I just noticed, how do we know if somebody's on there? Because before somebody just
It's
shouted.
on the top. It's along the top bar. It used to be on the side, but I saw it on the top.
So I'm looking
Oh,
on the
I
right
see.
size and it says 2 people.
yeah, click on
Oh,
that.
there we
you
go. Yeah,
All right.
there you go.
I got you. Mouse boy.
Then
How's it?
we'll know.
Mouse guy. Whatever my title
You're
is.
doing
to
better than me.
All right. Okay, so we'll continue with Selectmen's reports. Scott, you went, Joe.
We already, I'm all set.
I
Catherine.
will add on to that.
Oh, go
though,
ahead. Back
um,
up.
without knowing, it's hard telling to break out an old euphemism. Not a euphemism. Well, you know what I'm saying. If I don't hear from Titus, the time is getting short. We've got 5 weeks to do the bands and put together all the pamphlets and the scheduling and
hmm
all the rest of that stuff. Time is of the essence here. It really is. 5 weeks sounds like a lot, but you wait, next thing you know, it's going to be 1 week. And so if we don't hear from him pretty quick, and I'll reach out again, I'll try to get Gail to reach out to him because Gail's had better luck than me. Over the last few times we've been trying to get in touch and find out where he wants to go from here. Okay, because maybe we do it 4 times. We have some money in the budget and he can lead us to a band, or I don't know. But I would hate to see it canceled altogether for lack of
Are you suggesting that somebody organize it without him?
only if he's not involved.
Right.
But I haven't been able to get that word from him. But if he is not involved, then yes, I am.
Are you going to get a time certain on that? I mean, if he doesn't get back to you in a week, or
I don't
like you
have I
said,
don't have anything in mind. I don't have a concrete plan, Catherine. I really don't. But and that's why for the last few meetings I keep bringing it up, because and I'm planting a seed again tonight, because 2 weeks from now, if I haven't heard anything and Gail hasn't heard anything, we have to make a decision and assume he's out.
Want me to try to
I
reach,
believe.
I
want me to
agree.
try to reach him?
Please,
All right.
anybody that knows how to get in touch with Titus. The only reason I'm with kind of been the contact guy is because I do the food and I worked with him and Allison and whatever, but I got no special bonds to the actual running of the concert. So I'm sure we can put it on if we can find the proper music and what have you. But we have to make a decision because I don't want to cut Titus out. This is the Hartwell Concert Series. I wanted to, and I would continue to call it the Hartwell Concert Series,
Yeah.
whether he was involved with it or not.
But maybe he just needs the help to carry him over until next year or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
And
agree
I'm
with
all
you.
about that too.
There'd be so many people disappointed. That's a huge event.
A ton. But I'll have him.
So look forward to it.
If I can reach him, I'll have him call you. All right.
Pat, just one thing I forgot to add in on my, so, the Economic Development Committee, this meeting this morning, there was an exciting piece that came out of it is that, Joe and John Bernard and Jeannie, are going to start, some movement toward doing a chili and chowder cook-off downtown in the fall. So and they were looking at, and we were looking at overall, where a lot of communities do like October events, we were thinking more mid to sort of 2/3 of the way through September.
September Fest.
There it is. Yeah. I'll let you, yeah. So, and Joe was very enthusiastic because apparently he has, the Texas Correctional System's,
Their chili
recipe for
I
chili.
would like to
So-
wheel that baby out.
So, so just, that was the excitement from Mr. Jessamine at the Economic Development Committee this
I knew it
meeting.
had to be food.
So, yeah, it was
That's what I know.
Uh-huh.
You said chili and,
chowder. He was saying chowder.
oh,
too.
chowder.
Yeah,
And
chowder.
I've been thinking more on it. It seems like that's too busy.
Yeah.
We focus on one
Chili.
thing. If we're going to be known for something, maybe we're center of New England. It's the New England Clam Chowder Fest. And we have to drum up some real prizes to get people to come from far and wide. I think the potential is there that this could be kind of a signature event for the
I go
town.
to Vermont for their chili cook-off.
Yeah. Yep.
The Harpoon Brewery.
And we have a couple of
But
breweries
people
in
would
town.
come.
Yeah.
People would come here.
Absolutely.
That's good. All right.
Thank you.
Catherine, you're up.
So it's that time of year. Do you want us to continue planting the planter and the monument garden and the trough this year?
Please,
Yes,
Kathy.
please.
Okay. I been trying to recruit others to assist. And I think I have a couple. Because the planting isn't the hard thing, it's the maintaining it, the weeding. That's a weekly thing. So anyway, all right, we'll get that going. And I really have some questions, because I really am the newbie. Let's see, who has direct access to personnel files?
A Jeannie question, not me.
Um, It would be me and Gail because we're HR. If somebody came in and wanted to see their file, they have the right to do that. And typically what we do is give them their file. They can't take anything out of the file. If they want copies, they can get copies.
Yep.
Typically what happens is they would sit in my office or in Gail's office while they're looking through their file.
All right, so we have two people. So we have one person besides the town administrator.
I mean, typically, when people ask to look at their personnel file, it's me. But Gail has access to the personnel files because she has to file things in the files.
Because why, I'm sorry?
Because she files things in the, whether it's the PARs or whether it's health insurance paperwork or.
So is her access restricted to just filing? Or
No.
if she decided she wanted to look through anybody's file, she could go look through it?
Well, she doesn't do that. I mean, if Tim is looking for something or if I'm looking for something and I'm in the middle of something, she could go get it and pull it for us. But typically, if she's in files, it's clean out.
Okay. So it's kind of a restricted access.
Mhm.
And who transcribes the non-public minutes?
Depends. If it's something that is sensitive and I think that I should be the only one doing it, then I'll do it. But typically it's Gail,
And you're the only two?
only two.
Okay. And who has direct access to attorneys without coming before the Board of Selectmen first?
That would be me only. And if, like, for instance, if Leanne wanted to talk to the attorney about something, she would come to me. And if I had a question about it, if I thought it was something questionable, I'd come to the board. But there's typically the only one who would ask to speak with the attorney would be Leanne. Since I've been here, I can't think of anyone else.
Or the Board of Selectmen.
Hmm?
Or the Board of Selectmen.
Sure.
Would Heather?
Heather's, to my recollection, I don't think she's ever. But I remember when I first came here because people were doing that, and I can't even remember who, but there was a time when the board said, okay, we want to get a hold on this. So if you can't just pick up the phone and call an attorney, you got to go through Jeannie. So.
I know the building inspector at one time had access to an attorney, but so we have what, a building inspector and no code enforcement officer, or we have a code enforcement officer and no building inspector?
We have
He's
both.
both.
But no, he
No.
won't do code, right?
No,
No.
I didn't say he did both. I said we have both. And I think if you remember, because Leanne was in front of this board talking about that, just that issue, and she is or oversees the code enforcement, but the board had given her, do you remember that? You guys had given her the authority to do that.
To do code enforcement.
Yep.
But she doesn't have direct access to an attorney. As
Not
code
that I know of.
enforcement. Okay,
He
All
goes
right.
through Jeannie.
all right. Liaison positions, are those gone in effect?
Mhm.
That was two questions.
No,
Yeah.
you're the liaison to
No.
Public
Mhm.
Works, and
Oh.
you're the liaison to Town Hall.
I mean, that really kind of has gone
Technically,
away.
everything runs through the town
I mean,
administrator.
it used to be that way, but I think it used to be that if anyone had questions, they'd come to me, but I think now it's kind of gotten, board
Liaison
members will.
positions were first created, I know I was there, just as a contact, so that if something happened in, emergency for the police or Public Works, they wouldn't have to call all 5 selectmen
Right.
and the town administrator.
Well,
They'd
the,
make one phone call.
the, chi- the,
Chair.
the
And
chief
typically
calls
that-
the chair.
Right, and typically that person that they'd contact was the chair. And then the chair would call everybody.
Right.
Well, we're doing
And
We
then
do
they
that.
it manifested into something more than just a contact. I mean, for a while, and I'm asking this because I've been out of touch, obviously. For a while, you couldn't have direct communications with Public Works. And
I never
At
heard
one
that.
time, she was saying that was the way.
right, at one time
Yeah.
that was the way. So that's why I'm asking,
Right.
just to find out how it is now. So have we gone back to the original premise that it's just a contact? If there's an emergency,
Mhm. We
All
can
right.
call.
Yep.
We
I
call
talked to Kevin today for 15 minutes. I
Well,
mean,
you
it's
know
not that
me.
you can't. Yeah, I do.
I've never stopped talking to him.
I think there was something that came
Or the
up
chiefs.
that if people have requests to do things, that not everybody would be calling up
At the
Kevin
same time, right?
and
Correct, yeah.
saying that they need this done right away.
Oh, well, no, they shouldn't do that anyway. I
That
mean,
Right.
was,
No.
that shouldn't happen.
so
The
I
Board
mean,
of
people can
Selectmen
talk
should
to
Right.
them.
squelch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
They don't
sometimes it could be the Board of Selectmen.
come and move my desk.
Could be on a list, a very long list.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Right.
That took place. And my last question, what is the status of the Philbrook Cemetery down by the causeway? What's going on there?
Well, if you believe the Laconia Daily Sun,
Oh, no, I don't care about that stuff. I'm talking about who's maintaining it,
I don't
what's
think
going
he's
on to
touched it.
preserve it.
it's
I don't
Is
think
the
he's
town
touched it.
taking any action to make it a town, well, it technically reverts to the town, but for the town to maintain it?
Nothing.
Not yet.
This case was sent to the Belknap County prosecutor.
You all should have
It's
gotten a
no-
copy of the article that
They
the
found-
Belknap County attorney
it's found no.
said there was nothing. to
We
prosecute.
were told about a month ago that the county attorney, that we would get information as to where things stand with them. And we never got anything.
No, he
And then
never-
all of a sudden it just appeared in the
Yeah,
newspaper.
he never called me either, and
So that was,
right. I don't know who he contacted in the town, but it wasn't me.
He didn't contact anyone in the town.
I think in all of that took
Laconia
place,
Daily Sun.
I mean, I was one of the first ones that
They
was there because
contacted
I'm the
him.
one that called up selectmen I could find and the police and whatnot, and said, geez, somebody besides me needs to be here.
Well,
But
I'm happy to call the county attorney and
I,
ask him.
like I said, mistakes were made by the town and by the property owner. I mean, who's more at fault is the game for me. But my point is going forward, I'm very concerned about preserving that history for the town of Tilton. Right now, it's pretty shameful. I mean, it looks like it's not being trotted upon, but it certainly isn't being maintained. It's in a horrible state.
Mhm.
I'd be inclined that we go forward and, bring it in amongst the rest of the cemeteries that we maintain. And there is a process. It looks relatively painless, but there is a process to go through to do that.
We have to get his permission first, right?
I was here at that meeting, and spoke to him briefly outside, and he was agreeable to allowing that to take place.
I didn't get that from what he said inside the meeting.
Well, he was
Can we go
upset.
ahead with that process? To see
Pardon?
Can we go ahead with that process to see how we can maintain that cemetery?
Well, I think we should.
Are we all in agreement that we should go ahead with that process?
That's all I ever wanted out of this.
Right.
I'll make a motion to go forward with the process of including that in our list of town cemeteries to take over or take care of.
I'll second it for discussion. What is the process? I've just agreed to something. I have no clue what I agreed
I
to.
didn't I don't have the RSAs normally. I do. I apologize, but I didn't.
For the record, first time in 15 years, Catherine has not had the
I have
RSAs next to her.
others. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, but that won't work. here. Others won't work here.
Oh, wait a minute. They might. Nope. Town meeting. Let me take, it wasn't seconded, so let me redo the motion.
Oh, he seconded it.
Oh, did you?
But go ahead. Amend it.
My suggestion is that I'll come back with, that process.
I'll
And then
second that.
with them, we'll go forward with it from there.
Okay. Sound good?
I
So
don't
you're
think
going to
there's any
just
hurry.
withdraw your motion?
And in the meantime, I can, I don't mind contacting him. Because that's a big part of it.
Everybody amenable to that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, me
Yes.
too. Yep. Go forth.
I made a motion, it wasn't voted on.
Is that a motion or a
It was a motion,
consensus?
somebody seconded it.
Me.
I thought you were going to withdraw it and come back with the RSAs next week.
Oh, all right.
That was the motion she made the second time, but
Well, we can take the whole motion away and I'll just do what I just said I'd do.
Go talk to him and then come
Go
back
talk
with
to
the
him and bring back the
RSAs
paperwork and
and
stuff,
do
yeah.
the step
Okay.
process. I got it. Got it. All right.
Then I'm done.
That's it? Okay. John.
I can come up with more.
So a couple of things on. We had a joint meeting with the Conservation Commissions from Northfield and Samberton. And we all had up here, I believe there's like 19 people who showed up for it. We had the whole table all the way around filled and discussed just various issues on areas that abut both the towns and that. Northfield, we discussed the river and along there and just different things that deal with the river. Samberton, we have boundaries that we share with Samberton and, and just different issues and how we can stay in touch and support each other, for finding information or that. So that worked out good. There were a few things that are going on. One of the things was that Northfield's concerned with the number of people moving into the woods around Knowles Pond.
Sandogany.
Well, they said Knowles Pond is a real big one right now. And, so we went through that sort of thing. I don't know. There was, I didn't see it in the to be signed, but there should be an application from Jim Cropsey. He was put in the mailbox downstairs for planning board.
That's gone to the planning board.
It went to the planning board because there's one for somebody else, but that didn't go to the planning board. So
There's an RSA that there's only can be there only can be one conservation person on a planning board.
oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah. So the chair was going to speak with them.
Okay. Yeah, I was asked to make sure of that. And let's see what else we got going on. That's pretty much it. The tulips are all coming up. They're looking a little funny. They're kind of curly leaved, but they're coming up in different places around town. Notice that. And that's pretty much it.
Catherine, you have something
I
else?
have just a question. I read Heather's report, and on page, I think it's the second page. Anyway, in here, she talks about an MOU. Memorandum, yeah, it's on the third page, Memorandum of Understanding. And she seems to be having trouble with Laconia agreeing to it because it seems to be convoluted
Yeah.
or lengthy. And then, and thank you for sending that. I mean, it does have a lot of legalese in it, and you have to get through it. But did you, in your email, say that there was a condensed one?
Well, if you read Heather's report, she says she created a scaled back version of it, which I have not seen, and that's who she's,
Okay,
so I have no
yeah,
idea what it looks like or what it says.
that's what I remember. Okay. Yeah, so there is a scaled back version. Can we get a copy of that from her?
Yes, I can ask.
Because
Yeah, I'd like to see it too.
she does need to have backup. I mean, I've backed her up in the past,
Hmm.
and vice versa.
Yep.
Because we work pretty close anyway. But yeah, that needs to be resolved. Thank you.
All right. Okay, I'm up next. I have the senior center is having a brunch on Saturday, the 22nd, from 8 to 10. Today was the volunteer appreciation day. It was a great success. I have not seen the senior center so full ever. It was uh, truly, my heart was full to see that. I remember trying to convince town meeting to give us the first $20,000, and somebody was saying it was going to be a money pit and we wouldn't fill the halls.
Yep.
Well, just remember that. Um, in 2 weeks, we will be celebrating 12 years of being open. We will have some live music during the week for them, for the seniors, in extra hors d'oeuvres and pastries for them to celebrate. There is a resident that got in touch with me a while back, sort of kind of in the winter, and I didn't think that we could do anything to help him. But after going back and forth and going up around the road many times, I looked at the road book and decided that there may be a possibility that we could help him. There are 2 trees that are relatively close to the road. They are riddled with ash borer, however you call it, borer ash or ash borer, right? Ash borer.
Ash borer.
And the limbs are falling in the road and on the property. It's a hazard to the road, the people walking on the road and driving on the road, as well as themselves. In 2 RSAs, I found, I'll read both of them, and then I was hoping to try to get Kevin to go up, and with the approval of the board, to get Kevin to go up and see what he thought for the town's assistance. RSA 231-145, removal of certain hazardous trees, notwithstanding the provisions of other sections of this subdivision and subject to the provisions of 231-157 and 231-158, the Commissioner of Transportation on Class 1 and 3 highways, state-maintained portions of Class 2 highways, the governing bodies of cities and towns, and the county commissioners for unorganized places on Class 4, 5, and 6 highways, town-maintained portions of Class 2 highways may declare any tree, either alive or dead, situated within the limits of the highways, roads, or streets to be a public nuisance by reason of danger to the traveling public, spread of tree disease, or the reliability of equipment installed or at upon utilities facilities authorized under RSA 231-160 or 231-160A. After such declaration by such authority and notice to be abutting landowner on whose property such tree is located, the said authority shall be within a reasonable time remove the same without compensation or cost to the abutter. However, no such declaration and notice shall be required when the delay entailed by such declaration and notice would pose an imminent threat to safety or property, including electric transmission and distribution lines. Nothing in this subdivision shall be construed to relieve the Public Utilities Company of their accepted responsibility of tree trimming and tree removal for the protection of their lines or for the construction of new lines, or to alter the provisions of RSA 231-50-182 in any manner. The state and municipal authorities may require of the public utilities owning lines which pass through or near a tree or trees which are condemned for removal as a public nuisance to assist in their removal at their expense by either the temporary removal of the lines or by causing them to be removed at their expense the top portion of said tree or trees from a point below their lines. And then I'm going to just read the first portion of this. Well, this one's short. 231-150, clearing highways. Governing bodies of cities and towns, county commissioners of unorganized places shall annually and at other times, when advisable, cause to be cut and disposed of from within the limits of towns, maintain highways. All trees and bushes that may cause damage or pose a safety hazard to such highways or to the traveling public, provided, however, that no tree has a circumference of 15 inches or more at a point 4 feet from the ground, shall be removed in absence of notice to the abutter in the same manner as provided in RSA 231-145 and 231-146, except when the delay entailed by such notice would impose an imminent threat to safety or property. Shade and fruit trees that have been set out or marked by abutting landowners or by the town tree wardens, and young trees standing at proper distance from the highway and from each other shall be preserved, as well as banks and hedges of bushes that serve as protection of the highway or that add to the beauty of the roadside. So, with the permission of the board, I'd like to talk with Kevin about the situation and the people that own the property. Have them go up and take a look at it. I've gone up several times, have pictures. I've personally removed trees from the roadway. It's come down, the limbs are, about that big when they come down. 6 feet, 7 feet long.
Is there a sidewalk up there?
What's that?
Is there a sidewalk up there?
No,
I don't think so.
no, you're in the roadway. No. Then it's right around the school. It's right around Tilton School.
It lives at the top, right?
It's at the top, yeah. Daniel Drive. So the likelihood of kids walking is high.
Where it is.
I would suggest we all go up and take a look.
I know where you're talking about.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
There's other trees there, but the two ash trees are riddled with ash borers. So it's a.
Isn't Buffalo, there's a conservation land on the other side of his property, isn't there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
That the Dodge Wakefield?
Dodge Wakefield.
Yep.
So
Yes.
would that would be in jeopardy of that ash borer, wouldn't it?
If it continues, sure.
Yeah, that corridor runs right up and back. That's near my house. So.
Yeah.
The
Department
park
of Agriculture handle anything like that?
is what?
Department of Agriculture.
Talk to Bob
special-
Hardy, he'll know somebody, but
and-
I was gonna say the
and
park commissioners
disposal of
have a
it properly.
device. We inoculate the trees in Riverfront Park against ash borer.
But once it's already there, it's there.
Right, but I'm just thinking
Yeah.
about the the property that the town owns behind there,
Right.
because there's some
Oh,
ash
that's a
trees in
good
there,
point.
we might wanna,
Yeah, because it's, if once it's on,
And
it might be too
It'll go-
late.
it'll
and the
run
other thing is
rampant.
proper disposal of it, because, if you cut it down there and then you bring it and chip it, and then we use the wood chips.
I mean, I am worried about trees falling on cars, but
Yeah.
not
right, I
just
get it.
disease, but
I'm a yes on having Kevin take a look.
Yes,
Yes,
yep,
yes.
everyone, okay, good.
Have Bob take a look at it too.
I could hold of Bob and either
We
he'll
can
look at it
identify-
or he'll have somebody.
Make sure that's
Paul
what it is,
Rushlow's another one.
Yeah, Paul could take a look.
or Paul,
Okay,
and make sure he identifies what it is and proper way to handle the woods
okay,
after it's cut. So it
sounds
doesn't
good. Maybe I
affect
can call him on Saturday and have him go up. Okay, that's it for me. Oh, hold on a minute. Amnesty Week is, this week, April 19th, 20th, 21st, and from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., and April 22nd from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Citizen of the Year Award, you all received a copy of the guidelines. Old Home Day Committee would like to recommend it by the end of April. Here it is, end of April.
Good
I'm
Lord.
gonna put a piece of paper in.
So how do we want to do this? Do you want to just recommend and give it to Jeannie, and you want to write down your thoughts, and what do you want to do?
So I'm gonna pass around. This is one that I thought, and I'm gonna pass it this way. If anybody else has any other. Be a tough one.
Want me to write my name on there?
Wait,
The person on this, yeah, yeah, but I have another one in mind.
you have another one?
Absolutely.
Good luck trying to figure that one out, Joe.
Yeah.
That a yes? I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
It doesn't, so agreeing to this person, who I think is admirable, doesn't preclude us from individually recommending somebody else,
No,
right?
no.
Correct, correct.
The Old Home Day Committee votes on their own recommendations. They reach out to the town of Northfield and to the town of Tilton as a courtesy, because they feel that we probably know more about what goes on than they do. I wouldn't want to hold it open too much because it's the last Saturday in June.
But I don't know how
That's
you're
gonna
going
be
to
a
do
tough-
this one.
That's gonna be a tough one.
Oh, no, I'll pull it off.
All right.
They did it to me when I was Citizen of the
You
Year,
sound upset.
and I think we've said enough,
All right.
maybe too much.
You want to, are we all in favor with this?
I think it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. We'll pass this to Jeannie and she can send it in. I got this one for you too, Jeannie. All right. Okay. We have that email from the person that was speaking of the Pines Community Center. You remember that email that went back and forth about
I missed that.
okay,
Me too, maybe.
how about
It
if
came to me and I forwarded it to you. That's
just
the chair.
me?
Yeah, it was just you, because I
Okay.
wanted you, the chair, to see it, so.
Okay, so how about if we forward this to the board and then in 2 weeks we'll bring it up? Because it's all right, and we'll talk about it in 2 weeks. All right? Didn't realize it was just to me. Okay, now we're just a few minutes late. Chief Gilman, you're up. Yes.
Good evening. So I'm coming to you tonight to just look for some guidance and some approval. So we have 3 Crown Vics that are decommissioned, you could say. We have the 6B, the 6C, and the 10A. They are all being housed right now at the transfer station, and we know that there's a project that's going to be that's kind of ongoing right now, the transfer station. So I would like to get those vehicles. I was talking to Kevin, and we have 2 options: a silent auction, and I talked about that a little bit last year. Just kind of brought it up. And the other option is the New Hampshire surplus property auction, which takes place next month. So just looking to see how it would go if we do the silent auction through the town, and have to get ready to strip those cars down either way.
Chief, you're using the word silent auction. We have
Closed
used
bid.
silent bid.
Silent bid, okay. So
Silent
silent
bid.
bid.
So it's, go ahead, John.
And shows how much I know about it. I can't even get the
Yep.
word right, so that's a start. All right.
I'm not sure how much value they really have, and I do know that it costs money to have them towed down to White's Farm.
Yep.
That it could exceed the value, or pretty close to it, and that if there's interest around town and stuff like that, a sealed bid and be done with it and not have to pay for the.
What year are these cars?
Those cars, they say 6B, 6C, so they'd be 2006, but we got both of the 6B and 6C, we got them leftovers of 2008. So, and then the 2010 is really a 2009, so we're looking at 15 years on each of those cars, give or take, so.
They
Yeah.
get a lot of rust and.
Got a lot of drivers.
Mhm. And yeah, they're not,
They've been stripped. They're not runners.
I drove one 5 years ago, or a Crown Vic that was a leftover police car. Was pretty scary.
yeah, we drove it
The old town
to,
car was a police car.
Yeah, you've driven that one.
and I think there is a town car down there. I'd have to get with Kevin to see if that's another one, but I'm not going to speak for,
They don't run?
I would say yes, they would. We parked them there in the fall when they weren't roadworthy, I would say, or we wouldn't have them on details with the rust. There was a side panel that had fallen off on the bottom skirt, and then some of the, I guess, ECM stuff, air stuff to get inspected was failing. So we took them off the road at that point. And that was pretty much when we got the Tahoes. We knew we were going to cycle those out. And we used them for a little bit longer with the details, and then we're able to do that once the Tahoes were
You're
on the
really
road.
talking salvage vehicles.
No, there's probably parts. You still see Crown Vics around. There are good parts on the vehicle. There are.
Buy them for a demo derby.
Yeah, I would say that we do
They're
the
good at demo.
silent
bids.
closed bid, sealed bid auction, town
Dump
sealed
truck
bid auction.
demo derby.
Yeah, because the inspection, it's not inspected. We brought, if you remember, we brought the Jesse, the old detective, the white whale, they would call it. They brought that Crown Vic down, I think last year or the year before, and we were able to drive that vehicle down. And we only got about $800 for that vehicle 2 years ago, but that was in really good shape. These ones are obviously have
These are
decals.
not-
That was all white. You could at least drive that. These have the decals on that we would strip down, and a lot of wear and tear. So
Let's get them off that
Or selling
property.
for scrap metal, but let's
get
get them out of.
Let's get them off that property.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, sealed bid?
Sure,
Yes.
less is
Town sealed
best.
bid. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay,
Or-
sealed bid.
Seal bid. And how, who I get with and know how exactly that process goes. We'll get the cars stripped down, all the equipment out of them, the lights and
Have to be a public post.
decals. I just don't know.
Legally, it has to be a public posting.
So
Do we
we,
have any vehicles that those lights will now fit on? I thought we were going through a process. We don't even have any Crown Vics in the fleet, do we?
nobody else
No.
has Crown Vics
We
that the
d-
lights go on.
No one runs Crown Vics for cruisers anymore like that. No, I would say no, but I'm not going to say a dead no. I can find out if there's
So did
any
those?
use for that stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Probably
once you
a dime
strip
a
that
dozen.
down, is that another item to be sold?
Yeah, potentially, yes. Yes.
So you would have to post it, and so you'd post it, probably on the website and, on your Facebook.
Doesn't the local government center, doesn't their publication have a place for that stuff?
And then you'd set a deadline, have to be in by such and such a time and day, deadline, sealed bid,
Terms of sale.
terms of the sale, and then you would have, if you want, you can have a day of an inspection, have an officer there, and they can come and view that day. You can have it just one day, viewing whatever, or have them call you, whatever. I wouldn't want to go that way, though.
I would do one day where they.
I would just do the one day,
And
yeah.
if they can pull them down into the front of the DPW lot,
Yeah.
they can just look at it right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, we'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Thank you.
Let's get them out of there.
All right. Sounds good.
Get 'em into the-
And I'll be at the Walmart. My wife and I will be at the Walmart tomorrow for the drug take back. So
Oh,
just like last time we did it in November, October, November. It's
yeah,
been
the
posted.
drug
Take
take
back.
back.
Drug take back.
What
If you-
time?
If you have leftover
10 to 2.
prescriptions and things
10
like
to
that.
2?
10 to 2.
Keep people
We'll
from-
be there on Saturday, 10 to 2.
You know,
I
We're
said
not
tomorrow,
picking
but I
up
said
bags
10 Saturday.
like that.
So
I couldn't think that
With all my
thinking.
drugs.
um,
Clean out my
I'll
closet.
take them down for you.
so just one thing, so on Easter Sunday, I had the opportunity to do a ride along. And I'll tell you, it's a really good thing to go and do and spend, like 4 or 6 hours with one of the officers and just see, and I can say that one of the things is the way they handle stuff and the way they treat people was very, very fairly. And, it's just, it's not one of these things where you just come in, slap some cuffs on, throw them on the ground, do it. They're very reasonable, and by doing that, they de-escalate any situation from getting even worse. They staged a nice arrest for me.
Staged it.
that's what he
Well,
thinks.
yeah,
It was
what I told the guy.
it was an arrest.
Yeah,
He just
45 minutes after I got in the car. So, and I was amazed how much paperwork and time it takes. So if you have 2 guys that are on, like Easter Sunday, and then one, if a car has to be towed, one has to stay with the car until it gets towed. The other one has to go down to the police station, and then, so now you have to be covered by the other towns. And it actually takes a significant amount of time to do all that paperwork. There's a
Then
lot of
maybe
work
you got to
that
go
goes
up to the county jail.
on. Or,
I hope
bails.
not, we got our own cells.
Yeah. So there's a lot involved in it, and I can say that they did very, very professional job and very consistent and respected the people while they had to process them through this
great.
thing.
It's good to hear.
Despite how they behave.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, so I had a real good learning experience and enjoyed it thoroughly.
Quite an eye opener.
Yeah, I hope to do it again sometime with maybe some of the other officers.
Yeah.
It was good to spend Easter with one of the guys that's away from his family with these.
Yeah.
Who'd you ride with, John?
Or
Who'd you ride with?
Ort.
Ort?
Yeah, it's quite an eye opener.
Yep. It
Amazing.
was. So thank you. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Nice
Excellent.
group you got there.
Good. Thank you. They're great. Anything else?
I have a question for you, Chief.
What you got?
So, years ago, the police department accumulates bicycles, typically. And they would have an auction for the children, for the young people, for those. And, there was a day of it. They'd give out ice cream and if parents wanted their children fingerprinted and that kind of stuff. It was quite a to-do. Have we ever thought about doing that again?
Yeah.
And what happens to those bicycles now? Do we just accumulate them?
We accumulate them and then they go DPW or they end up going back to the people because sometimes they're cases. We don't get a lot as much as we used to get. I know that people would tell me stories about a lot of the bikes.
Oh, yeah.
I always said I want to do a rodeo. We did just receive a donation for we have a lot of helmets for kids. We got some from Walmart last year, but we were able to get some through, I wouldn't say a grant, but it was kind of like a grant, they were looking safety. So that's something I'd like to do. And then it would be nice to, I wouldn't say, I don't want to find somebody's bike or a stolen bike to say to give it to somebody else. But if we do, that would be something to set up. That'd be
Nice.
great. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Yep. Good.
Are you planning a night out?
National Night Out.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
So it'll be in
Yeah.
August.
Oh,
Go ahead.
last year we had, how do I put this? I could be blunt, but I won't be. We had a group of bicycle enthusiasts
Well, here we go.
who had a proclivity for riding in unsafe manners or in areas that were against the ordinances, that they shouldn't be there. I haven't seen those guys around, and well, they weren't just guys, but I was just wondering if you had seen them at all.
They have driver's licenses now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
So we're dealing with a different aspect of it now.
Okay,
Correct.
So
Yeah.
but there's not a new.
They are contemporaries of a couple of my children, and they have driver's licenses.
that's the cycle.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the cycle, right?
All right.
Cycle.
All set? Let the
Okay.
chief go home and have some
Are we
supper?
good?
You're welcome, Chief.
Good.
I got that one
Thanks.
for you.
Oh yeah. No, that's a good thing. When it started to get warm, I was thinking of the same thing every time I drive through downtown and wait for that call to come in, but they have moved along. So
Good.
for now, there's always something. So all right, well, thank you.
Good night, Chief.
Good night. Okay, Jeannie has a few things to go over,
So,
updates.
did you all get a chance to read Tim's report?
Yes.
So he is asking funds for that survey on Morrison Avenue. And he's giving you two options.
I
One-
can't hear you, Ginny. I'm sorry.
Tim gave you a report. We need funds for the Morrison Avenue survey. It was $4,950. And he's giving you two options, either a budget transfer or taking funds out of road, streets, bridges, sidewalks, and capital reserve fund. He is recommending a budget transfer. He's concerned about taking money out of road, streets, and bridges and bringing it down to zero. So we have two documents, depending on which one you choose. So I could get you to sign that so we can get that survey paid for.
Like
The-
the police option.
Yes,
The budget
The
transfer?
budget transfer.
budget transfer, yeah.
Agreed.
Anyone?
I agree.
You?
Mhm.
John?
Thicker heard our ability to hire other officers or something if we find some.
No,
in
we
the
have-
negotiated
No.
offer.
Wages we budgeted and would have paid, except those officers don't exist.
Mhm.
So it's, yeah. So it's,
This goes, the amount that he said in his note, in his report, does not include the 3 opening positions that was already budgeted for.
correct.
So this is in excess of that. Okay,
Okay.
And at the end of the
Catherine?
year, we just buy another police car or something. So we might as well do something right now with it that we've been putting off for a long time.
you all set with this budget
Morrison
transfer?
Avenue?
Yes.
Yes. You take
I
it
mean, we
out,
have to pay for it. Budget transfer is my way to go.
okay. All right, so we make a motion that we do a budget transfer for $4,950.
Jessamine second.
Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
So is that, so that's done. Is that what Kevin needed in order to determine where the road goes?
Yes.
Here you go, Joe.
Not the water pipes.
Who knows where those are?
Just threw in the disintegrated by now.
There was a disposition of abatement. This was for Lowe's. And the one piece that is unfinished, I see you signed it, is if you read the backup, Lauren says that she's reached out to the attorney to draft a settlement agreement that would lock this assessment in for 2022 and 2023. And then we would update the values in 2024 to 100% of market value. If the board agrees, I am seeking authorization to sign the agreement on your behalf. So I need a motion to give her that authorization.
So moved.
Second.
What are the details?
So this has to do with the Lowe's abatement,
Updating the assessment value.
and she's locking it in by creating this settlement agreement so that they'll be paying the same amount up through 2024.
And then 100% of market value after that. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So all those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Nay,
Nay. Okay.
I don't typically subrogate my authority as a selectman
Okay. got
unless it's exceptional.
it. All right.
Also, I mentioned to you before, I wrote a grant for congressionally directed spending for $500,000. That this is for the bridge that I had submitted to Shaheen's office, and I received a notice today that Senator Shaheen has recommended that this project be funded. So it's gone to the next step.
Nice.
So
And it's not, we can stack it, right?
that's what I was told, that it can be stacked.
That would cover 85% of the bridge right there.
Very nice.
That's, oof.
The last.
What do you mean stack it?
So
With
We
another-
got
with
one
another-
from the heritage people,
Well,
preservation.
The water,
people.
the land and water
Land and water
conservation
too,
grant,
so you-
which I still have to finish writing. I mean, that's a huge grant, but from what,
Okay.
okay. But that was $500,000 grant too. I don't know if I'll get it all.
That's good news. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the last item that I have, there was an email, I think, that Catherine sent out to the board and to me about the staff training.
About the what?
The staff training on
yes.
conflict management. So the genesis of that was the board had directed me to speak with the attorney about training. And those who were invited to participate in the training were the full-time staff. No part-time staff were invited. Certainly, if we want to have a second training, we can do that. This one was directed to the people in town hall, all full-time people in town hall, and the two department heads. So that would be Kevin and Abe.
I find that interesting. I mean, not that I've been to, in years past, a lot of these types of trainings, but whether you have part-time employees or full-time employees, they all at one time interact with each other. So why would you not want all of your employees, whether they're part-time or full-time, to attend such a training?
Well, I wouldn't say it was so much a matter of not wanting to have all employees, but what was directed was the staff at town hall and the two department heads, and they were the full-time. And like I say, certainly if the board wants to have another training, we can set up another training and then
You
open
don't
it up.
need to for
It
me.
was-
Like I said, I've been to a lot of them, but
It was my understanding that all town hall employees, and that's what I had suggested originally, all town hall employees get a training because, as Catherine's saying, everybody interacts with each other.
Right.
Although some are part-time and some are full-time, but they all have to work together. And the
That's right.
issues we're having is people not working together well. So once we eliminate a couple, then we start, it can just continue a situation where, yeah,
It creates a
yeah.
disadvantage. If you have two,
So the
if you
training's
have
already
like
gone
part-time
on?
employees,
Hasn't happened? So we can just put 2 more people in it?
Well,
It's
if you're
not
gonna-
just 2 more people, though.
maybe 4 more people.
It's 4
Okay.
more.
And then are you opening it up to all the employees at the DPW and all the employees at the PD? Then it gets to
Sure.
be quite a large, and it's from 5 to 8 o'clock. Certainly we can do it. And then the only other thing I would say is that you have somebody who's an employee who's also a boss. So you're going to put some people in a,
like I said, don't worry about me. I've had in the years past many of these trainings, if you're talking about me as a selectman.
I was under the impression you wanted to go.
No, I've heard from other part-time employees, and when I noticed that I, as an employee, didn't get the email, I was like, does that mean other part-time employees didn't get the email as well? So I was
Yeah.
concerned with that aspect. But I don't need to attend. I mean, I'm not being conceited, but I have attended a lot of those different. Dan Crean used to come here and do a lot of
Yeah.
those types of,
And
you remember
Queen was
Dan?
great.
Right.
It was great. Like tons of them. And,
For a lawyer.
but I'm just thinking, when I saw it and I talked to other part-time employees, I was just kind of stunned that, as I said, all employees interact with each other at one time or another. Why would you educate some and not the rest?
The issue is, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Maybe we don't do this one and then plan for a bigger one, because what you're asking for is to stop everything, have all the employees go to one training, and you're paying for that. So you're paying for all the officers to go to this one training. We have to, you're paying for downstairs, you're paying for overtime for them to go to this training here at Town Hall. Those that are not salaried people, your public works, you're going to be paying them overtime outside of their normal working hours.
But again, what's the value of the training?
Well,
I mean, it's good for some, and we're going to pay them, but not good for others. I'm just saying.
well,
And typically with those, you get what? Maybe 30% if you're lucky?
well, we've gotten 100% of the people who are invited, but when you talk about the part-time people, well, some part-time people are not in town hall to really interact with anyone anyway. And then 2 of the part-time people, at the end of the day, it doesn't, if you want to do that, I think we just need to schedule another training, because
But it's not just part-time. You're talking about PD and you're
No.
talking about public works.
Right.
So where do we draw that line, though? So I'm not trying to defend something here. What I'm trying to do is, where do we draw that line? Do you, so if we add the 4 people for town hall, because we asked for town hall, it's not, well, 3 people, because you've already been through most of it. So it would be 3 people that we would add, but 1 would be a salary person, so it wouldn't really be,
right.
2 we would be paying amongst all the other people that we're paying to go in the evening. Then do we add another training for public works? Is that our intent, to add another training for public works and then add a 3rd training for PD? Because, hopefully we could incorporate a training when they do their staff training, and then we don't have to cost us a lot of money. We can ask for that an hour for something to happen at that point, but
Well, I would ask the chief, we probably could have asked them tonight, but typically that type of training is available to the officers.
Yeah, they have training. They have training for
Yeah.
everything.
So it would only really be probably Public Works would be the other entity.
And I think the thought was that you're by inviting the two department heads, Abe and Kevin, that they would bring that back to their staff, because primarily the issue started here in town hall. And I don't think it really went outside of town hall.
that's because most of the time you're sitting at a desk.
Those issues come up everywhere.
So,
Right, they do. Here,
so
go ahead, John.
it was my understanding that we would have all town hall employees invited to go to this training. You can't force anybody to go. I think it's a good idea, even if you've been through it before. I think it's a good idea. That's your thing. But I think these are always good, and it shows everybody working together, and maybe, and every employee that works in town hall should go. Abe and Kevin might get something out of it, that they could get some tips, and if they spot things in their departments, then they could proceed from there with that. But I think everybody, part-time, full-time, or anybody, this is an enclosed captive audience here, and there's not that many people that, I think that was my intention when I suggested that we get a training and talk to them, was that everybody in town hall. And I thought it was a great idea to have the public works director and chief. Stick with that.
More knowledge is good for everybody.
So you want everyone in town hall be invited. Okay. Scott? Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
John?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Send me out a little message with the date on that, please, Jeannie, so that I can attend, because I would like to know these things too.
Wait, this,
I don't think it should be selectmen.
No?
wait, that was the whole intent before. It was, we were not gonna invite, Jeannie had said not for the selectmen to go.
I didn't remember.
Yeah, you did.
No, it was the attorneys.
Right.
And it was
Correct.
based on the video you watched. Mike Ricker came back and said, selectmen are separate,
Yeah.
staff. And it was generated from what happened in town hall. And that's how this.
All
Yeah, now I
kinds of
remember. I don't pay
interesting
much attention
situations
to
that
attorneys,
seem to happen around.
unfortunately.
And, people working in confined environments.
Well, if you go, I'm going, so I'm on vacation. But
Okay.
I think that they would
We'll
be,
start with town hall and see where that goes. How's that?
and I think that they'd be more comfortable in being able to open up if we didn't go attend.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I mean, this training is not just a bitch session for them.
They'll ask questions that they wouldn't normally ask if a selectman was in
There
the
you
room.
go. Okay. I think they have the wrong
That's my
idea about the
experience.
selectmen. I really do. We're not ogres and monsters for the most part.
That it for you, Jeannie, or do you have anything else?
That's it.
What about these? We didn't decide on an engineer.
I thought I heard.
Oh, yeah, we were gonna decide on an engineer.
I thought you said you wanted to wait another 2 weeks. If you're ready to decide, that's.
No,
fine with me.
I said, do we want to wait for another 2 weeks and then
You said late, and then we'll take it
we'll
up
take
later.
it up later
Yeah.
because the board wanted to take it up later.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me.
And I missed, who was it you chose?
McFarland.
Berlin and Johnson. That was the staff. Kevin, Tim.
As long as it's
Leanne,
not
and
Holden
I.
Engineering. Holden Engineering.
That was not one
I
of the
would vote
options.
for Holden Engineering.
Well, you do hold a grudge. But that's,
I remember some things, Catherine, and I won't forget that one.
Are they
No.
still in business?
Can't imagine they are, but maybe. Yeah. Love those glasses, Catherine. You steal those from your grandchild?
no, I got these from the dollar store. Mine are in Olem, Oregon, being fixed. They won't fix them here.
Jeez.
Why did this one stand out, McFarland?
Uh, They were the most thorough of all the companies that we interviewed. They actually did site visit, provided photos, were familiar or appeared familiar with Taylor Hill Road. They've done projects locally, and all of us felt like they answered the questions, and we had a lot of confidence in their abilities.
When I looked at these, my biggest concern was the infrastructure under the road. One of them I eliminated because that's all they seem to be concerned about, was the pavement.
Yeah.
Let's, we're gonna leave you with a great paved surface.
Yeah, we've had those before.
Yes, we have.
They last, what, a year, 2
Um,
years?
And I was kind of like, I don't know which one of these I favored. But both of these did talk about the drainage, which is a huge problem on that road. I mean, that's what cracks it, makes it move, because it's non-existent in a lot of places, especially the stretch up from Clark Road, where it just flows across the street sometimes. It creates the ice
The
dam.
glacier
Yeah.
and the boulder that comes up in the middle of the
And I
road.
was looking, and I'm sorry I didn't highlight it and mark it, but one of them was going to do topographical. And I thought that was it Du Bois and King? Yeah, this one, they're the ones that talked about soil mapping in the area, but that's pretty easy. That's already been done for them. They're just gonna look it up. And Du Bois and King is local, right? They're Guilford.
Yep.
Where's McFarland at, if I didn't notice?
Concord. They're Concord. Yeah.
Do we know where McFarland is located?
Concord.
I don't have it in front of me.
That's not too far.
I'll make a motion to go with McFarland. Based on the recommendation of Jeannie Forrester.
Well, it's the whole group.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Tim and
Kevin.
Kevin, me, and yeah. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll
No,
abstain. I'll abstain.
Okay. All opposed? Okay.
I prefer.
3, 1 abstention, and a no.
The project manager, it's a parent of two of the students who I have
Oh.
knowledge of. So
Okay.
for McFarland Johnson, that's the reason for the abstention.
Good move.
So do we have any other business before us?
I do. I have one thing.
I have one thing real
Okay,
quick.
go ahead.
I just want to bring up that the CAP program, they've sent everybody out of the hotels. And presently, they're all living, or many of them are living in the commuter parking lot to a
Is
point,
that why they're over there?
Yep.
to a
Yeah.
point where they're 100% full of the parking spaces. There's no bathroom facilities over there, and everybody's living there now. That was also brought up because as they get pushed from here to there, they're all moving into the woods.
There's encampments in
All
the
over
local
our
towns.
town.
On the trail.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on over at Knowles
Yeah.
Pond too.
So, and that's by Knowles Pond.
Yeah.
And this whole area has now, you've had 2 hotels full of people that are now. So if you get a chance at night, take a little ride through the commuter parking lot and you'll see.
I've been seeing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it.
And it's to a point where the commuters can't even park in there or are scared to park in there because why would you leave your car parked in there while you commute?
Seems like that
Because
would be a DOT thing.
it's an ongoing thing, and also I don't know if
Yeah.
we could have Heather come in and talk to how they're coming to her for support or what other things that she knows of in the area at the next meeting, and maybe get a little.
I don't
powwow
recall
together
her
with.
having that in her report. That
She mentioned it.
Hmm.
were moving, but not that they had moved to the. They were moving out.
And,
They're moving into all kinds of places,
Yeah.
woodlands, parks.
and
It's a big problem.
right in our town, in our area. So
And we didn't start with 90% of these people as residents, but they're ours now.
There was also one in one of the other department reports we got as well. There was a situation, if you look on page 2, I think.
what's happening now, also there's a lot of crime, and before it was just at the hotels, but now it's here and there all over town.
Oh
And
my God.
it's an interesting predicament that people have been put in and kind of lured into the area and then left high and dry. So it's a very serious problem, and it's going to lead to more crime.
Perhaps
and
we could reach out to our state representative and see what might be done at the state level, if anything. They cut off the funding for the hotels.
We don't want them to start the funding again.
We want them
Yeah,
to deal with the issue,
So maybe
whatever that means.
Housing.
at our next meeting, maybe we could invite our police chief, our welfare agent, and our senator to come in
And
And
state
have-
rep, yeah.
and
I would love that.
have, some type of, everybody's going like this. Pretty soon the leaves are going to be on the trees. You're not going to see them, but they're going to come out. And they have to use bathrooms and they need money somehow.
There's,
But-
They need
there's
food.
bathrooms all around them, John.
What do we have going on in next meeting? Do you know offhand? Do you think that we could arrange something like that with the senator and uh,
Hmm.
hmm.
Please.
Well, we would want all of them together, I think.
Or at least have, Heather come in and see how.
And
Well-
the chief, and how does it affect him and the officers?
So just Heather and the chief and
If
I
the
would still
senator
rather
can't,
have the state
If we could
reps
get the
here.
other 2, that would be great, but
at least get them,
It is
because
what
we
it
gotta
is.
know how it's going
I
to
wouldn't
affect us.
cancel it simply
money-wise,
because
yeah.
Tim and Jules can't be here.
no, he's not. He's in the other district. It's Dan Ennis is ours.
Who?
Dan
Yeah.
Ennis. Because because of the redistricting.
I've never seen this guy before.
Well, if you got to pay attention to the redistricting. The redistricting that took place took Tim to
right,
the other district above us.
exactly.
Mostly done by lawyers, no doubt in my mind.
No,
But anyway, that's what I was thinking, and
You can't have
sorry
any
to stop you
gerrymander.
there for a minute, but.
All right, we'll see what
interrupt
we
you.
can do for 2 weeks from now. Okay. I'm sure that Joe Jessamine has something to say.
My issue is motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Or you could stay if you want.